Okay, good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to open this meeting of the New London Board of Selectmen. And the first order of business this evening is to elect a chair, and I nominate Janet Kidder to be the chair.
I second that.
Do you accept?
I do.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I go home now?
Well, no, you can't go home, actually.
Really excited. I think I speak for Bill. We're excited that you're part of the board. This is wonderful, so thank you for deciding to run. And the first order of business are appointments, and Renee Theall, I want to pronounce that correctly, is going to speak to us. She's from the Housing Navigator, Associate Planner of the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission. So Renee, you want to tell us what you're all about?
Hi, thank you so much for having me tonight. Thank you for Kim and everybody for organizing this and setting me up for the appointment. As Janet had mentioned, my name is Renee Theall, and I am with the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission, or UVLS RPC. Took me a little bit to get that down, but getting it. I've been with them for almost 2 months now, and I came on board with the position of the Housing Navigator. And a lot of people kind of hear that and go, what does that mean? What is that? So this position stems from one of Governor Sununu's grants, one of his bills that put in $100 million into this fund to look at housing in the state and how we can address that. And it kind of went off in a couple of different avenues, one of them being the Housing Navigator grant. There's also another one out there you may hear, as a neighboring town has it as well. Wilmot has the HOP grant, which is Housing Opportunity Planning Grant. So the Housing Navigator role is to kind of engage the community or communities in discussing the housing needs for their town and maybe some neighboring towns and some joint ones. So my position is with a joint of 4 towns, Ural's New London here, Wilmot, Newberry, and Sunapee as well. So I'll be dividing up my time working with each of the towns and just kind of helping to add capacity for the town, the planning board, and trying to get some, community outreach or engagement in finding out some data, and then also in finding out what the community thinks of the housing as it stands and what that could look like in the future. I know you guys, the town is also in a really good position. You guys have your housing commission, and who's done a lot of great work and passed their amended workforce, so that's great. So you guys are ahead of the curve, and some of the other communities are kind of thinking, what can we do? So maybe some cross-town also interaction in the future may be happening as well, just because it's kind of a community. Doesn't always stop at our town lines, housing, right? And especially where you all are in the Kearsarge Regional District, we're already kind of lumped in with that community as well with those towns. So a little bit more about the grant. It is 2-year grant, so I'll be working for the next year and a half, a little bit over that, almost 2 years, on this project. And it's from Invest New Hampshire, but New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority is administering it, if you will. They are also doing housing academies, which you may or may not have heard about. Kim has attended. I've attended most of them at this point. They do in-person and Zoom that they put on and kind of help give you the tools and resources to kind of go back into communities and have these discussions. What else? So that's a little bit about that. Again, over the next 2 years, working with the 4 communities close to full time to help bring capacity and hopefully to bring about a significant impact on the individual and collective capacity within the towns. And build common ground and hopefully to advance solutions that address each community's local housing needs. It doesn't always look the same in each town, and we are all very full aware of that. Like, that's not going to look like Lebanon. It's not, Wilmot, New London's not going to change into that. So what does it look like for each of your towns? And building the relationships amongst the community and communities to help bring about those housing solutions, as I'm sure most of you know is kind of needed. So there is a draw. And a little bit about me, quickly. I grew up in Newbury, New Hampshire, so I'm not unfamiliar with the area. I was here until about college, and then I left and went to Lexington, Kentucky area for almost 4 years, and then I came back because I couldn't get New Hampshire out of my blood. So I love it with all my heart, and I just want to see the best for our communities. And that's a little bit about me. If anyone has any questions about me or the project or the RPC itself, so happy to answer.
Well, Renee has been to planning board meetings, so we have asked her questions. I don't know, BB, do you have any questions for her at this time?
No, I don't think so. I think basically you'll be the connection, you'll be the representative working. Okay. No, I think it sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Bill? Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Renee.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you all so much. Thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Next is public comments, and I'm going to call on Chief Cobb first. I believe she has something exciting to share with us.
Thank you. Welcome to BB. Thank you for joining the board. I am happy to share with the board that our body cameras and dashboard cameras, our cruiser cameras, are live. Wow. So we executed that project late last week and into this week a little bit. So you can expect to see the body cameras. I'm wearing one tonight on all of our police officers, and then the cruiser cameras. So they activate, the cruiser cameras activate automatically when we turn our lights or our siren on, or we can manually activate them. And if our cruiser camera is activated and our body camera is synced with that cruiser camera, the body camera will also automatically activate and start recording. We have, of course, a policy on it, and we're in compliance with all the requirements to have the body cameras. So also we can manually start recording on our body cameras. I'll show the board very, very quickly. So it's a one press of a button. And as soon as you see the red on it, the red means that you're recording. Wow. So press it again and stop the recording. So now it's stopped now. So hopefully no one in this room will experience it, but if anyone were to be pulled over, the officer would come up and say, "Hi, I'm Chief Cobb with New London PD, just so you know we are being recorded," and then it would kind of proceed from there. So we do let people know that they are being recorded due to some of the requirements in the statutes. So I wanted to share that with the board.
Emily, does this feed go back to the police department? I mean, can they look at it?
It is stored in the cloud. Certain privileges, like supervisors have, the administrators have all the privileges. I can view any officer's body camera and review that, but the officers are only able to review their own body camera. It's just basically due to what permissions each officer and each level has: patrol officers, supervisors, administrators.
So it's not a live feed?
No, no live feed.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
This was obtained using the body-worn dash camera grant that was released last year sometime, I believe. And it was a 50% grant for up to $50,000. So we did utilize almost all of that. I think it was $49,960 that we would get from the grant. Great. So we will be responsible for the remainder of that, which might be able to be absorbed in my budget. We also have the Police Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, and you can use ARPA funds for this too. So when we get the invoice, we'll determine how we're going to pay that out.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Emily. That's great. Okay. Are there any other comments from the public? Anyone has any questions or anything that's not on the agenda? No? Okay. I think one thing that I would like to suggest for the Select Board is to consider a list of priorities for the coming year for discussion at future meetings. So maybe if you all would give that some thought, I think that would be great. Our next item is new business. We need to decide on select board assignments for planning board, budget committee, and the tri-town assessors, which is meeting soon. Kim has advised committee chairs for recommendations on their committees. So do I have a volunteer for the planning board?
Janet, I would like to finally move you over
Okay.
and become the planning board representative from the Selectmen.
Okay.
But I would like to suggest that you be appointed by statute as the alternate also, so that
Okay.
if I can't come or if your expertise is needed, then you are officially there.
Okay, great. All right. Do we need a motion for that? Is that a, okay,
Yeah, yes.
okay. I move that we accept Bill's proposal. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right. Okay, for budget committee.
I will volunteer for the budget committee.
Okay.
If it's okay with you.
Yeah, that's great. I move that we accept BB as our budget committee representative.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For tri-town assessors, this is a meeting, these meetings usually are in the morning, and they're quarterly, and we need a selectman on that, and I will volunteer to do that. I've done it in the past, and it's interesting if you all are okay with that.
I move that we ask Janet Kidder to be our representative to the tri-county assessor, tri-town assessors.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We need to determine future meeting dates. Have you all thought about that? And we need to know where we can meet as well. So do we want to just send Kim meeting dates, or do you all know when you want to meet?
Well, I think what we've decided, haven't we, that starting when, could be that we'll meet on Wednesday evenings
Okay.
instead to accommodate our personal schedules. When do you need to start Wednesdays?
First week of May.
First week of May, okay, that's good. I would, as you know, I think both know, I'm going to be away for a good part of April.
Yeah.
So to accommodate me, I would hope that we could meet again next week and do some of the business of priorities and some other people that may be coming here. And then if we could meet again on the 27th, which is a Thursday, because I get back at 9 o'clock on the night of the 26th.
Okay.
And that would allow us to have two full meetings in the month of April. And also, I believe, Kim, that we have a sewer meeting on the 27th. So probably, this is one of the things we do every quarter. We meet, we are the sewer commissioners for New London.
Okay.
And we meet with the commissioners from Sunapee. And if we could wrap all of that into the 27th, that would be great. Those would be two more Thursday nights, the 6th and the 27th.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
The 6th and the
switch,
okay.
switch to May. And I don't know if we're going to, do we want to just go back to the second and fourth
Wednesday?
weeks of the year, of the month? And let's go to Wednesday, though,
Okay, so that would be
the 10th and the 24th?
the 11th and the 25th? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, you're right, the 10th and the 24th.
So 10 and 24.
Okay,
And 24, okay.
And then that takes us to June. I assume starting May, we're going to go over to the school again. So that would then be the 14th and the 28th, right?
yeah.
If I got my calendar right?
Yeah, I won't be here the 14th,
Okay.
but I can do the 28th.
Well, since we've got 5 Wednesdays in May, how about, are you going to be here the 7th?
Of June?
Yes?
No.
So you're
I'm
gone.
going to be gone the 7th through the 20th.
So do we want to have just one meeting or in June? Or do you want us to meet without you, or?
Whatever you want to do. We can either meet if we could meet the 21st,
Great.
would that work for you all?
Yep.
Okay. And then maybe talk about it after that, after June?
Then we're into July,
Right, yeah.
and that would be the 12th and 26th.
Yeah?
And then August,
It would be the 9th and the 23rd.
9th and the 23rd. Does that all work for you, baby?
Yep.
And then we'll figure it out after,
Yeah.
Okay.
see how we like Wednesdays.
Okay,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
deal with the budget committee in there. They used to have Wednesdays. We may have to allow them to have Thursdays instead, at least for a while, right?
Okay, so we did that. I'd ask that you review the rules of procedure. Have you had a chance to do that?
Yes.
Do you have any recommendations?
No, I don't think so. I think it
Yeah.
all looks great.
The only thing that I might suggest we not elect a vice chair and just, if someone's not here, if I'm not here, then you two decide who wants to run the meeting, which is,
Maybe we could also take out reference to Wednesday or Thursday and just say twice a month at 6 o'clock,
yeah, that's good.
so that we don't have to go back and change things for the day of the week.
Okay. So we're good with that. And do you want to receive information regarding meetings electronically or by paper? I want to receive them by paper. I like to mark things up. But Bill, would you rather just receive yours electronically?
I would like to get as much as possible electronically, but I don't want to make it hard for Kim, so if we're going to continue with paper for you, we might as well.
I think,
We can do however you like it. I mean, if there's just one or two of you that like paper, we can do that. We did try that some time ago, but then it got confusing, I think, not for us, but for some selectmen who, if they didn't
Right.
get a paper thing, because sometimes paper, it might be a 20-page report, and the person didn't want to print it at home. So it really doesn't make any difference to me. I'm happy to do it.
Me neither.
If you prefer
Makes no
paper or electronic.
well,
We'll
if,
just put a little note, Bill, no paper for Bill.
Well, I was going to say, I like Word documents, but this schedule that you gave us, for example, of compensation, the long spreadsheet, that has to be paper. I don't have the ability to do long pieces of paper.
We can give it a shot, Bill, and then
I'd like to
if you-
try
if you-
it.
if you see that we're skipping you on some things, you just shout it out.
I don't know how BB feels about
You
it.
can put me on electronic
Okay.
to save paper.
Well, how about if we do this? I'll send it via email, and if you get something electronically and want it printed, you
Printed.
just say, hey, Kim, can you print it
Okay.
out for me?
Perfect.
That sounds like.
And that way you can all have it electronically, and Jan will have it paper.
right,
Perfect.
Perfect.
okay, thanks, Kim.
Remind me about that.
All right.
It's a test.
Okay, the next item we have is review the town meeting. We had an amazing turnout. Kim, did you want to make any comments?
Right. Yes, I think that it went extremely well. It's a huge undertaking for a lot of people, and I think that it went extremely well between renting the chairs. I mean, we worry about till the day the chairs arrive, are they going to show up? Our sound system person who's been doing it for years, there's so many things that could go wrong. I think it went very well. The fire department stepped up and helped with the extra chairs. I thought that was awesome. We did have one person ask me why we do it so late at night. So that might be something you think about for the future, whether 7 o'clock is too late. I know some towns have Saturday morning meetings as opposed to a weeknight, because some people don't like to drive at night. I had another person who wished we had mass available. So those were the only kind of two things. But I thought that it went very well
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, it did.
We had the little snafu with the code red, but I think, and I did hear of a few people who did not go because they didn't get the correction, so obviously that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Lou Boda, our emergency management director, will be doing more training with the other towns, because the towns we dispatch for are also on code red. So obviously, one town sent out the meetings canceled and didn't say that it was for that town. So everybody got together and sent out more code reds to correct it. And, we try to use code red sparingly so that when we do use it, people say, ooh, code red, that's different, and they're more apt to pay attention to it. So anyway, that was a little bit of a glitch, but overall, I think it went very well.
Bill, PB, y'all have any comments? Okay. All right, let's see, we need to approve the delegation of deposit authority as requested by the treasurer. Lynn, you want to tell us about that?
Sure. So we're just updating a document that already exists, and it essentially, the treasurer delegates authority to deposit receipts that come into the town and they get delegated not to a person, but to a position: finance officer, town clerk, and tax collector. And this allows that Steve doesn't have to come in daily and go down to the bank for us. So that's what the document is. Steve's already signed it, so if you guys just sign that, it gives Will and I essentially authority to take care of getting money into the bank for the town.
Well, since he left today, we better approve this.
Right?
All right, so I move that we approve the delegation of the deposit authority as requested by the treasurer.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, town administrators report. Kim, do you want to talk about the MS 232?
Yep, but I thought, first I would say the big project we have starting out is our Whipple project, and I know Phil's here. Maybe if Phil could
Okay,
speak to that issue, give us a little update on it,
sure.
on the Whipple project.
Thank you, and welcome, Bibi. I look forward to continuing to work with the new board. So this is sort of jumping on a river that's flowing, I'm happy to report. Kim has signed a contract with North Branch. We've received the bond, copy of the bond, received their insurance information. The schedule is to start work on May 1st. We have a couple of meetings before that, just getting organized. The target is to finish by the middle of August. The contract will allow them to go to the end of September. They don't expect to have to do that. That's just to cover the risk. But we're targeting the middle of August. They're fairly confident that they can be out of here by Labor Day, barring something that happens in construction, which is always a risk. We also wound up, there is a thing called a guaranteed maximum price, which they provided to us. That fed into the number that we adjusted at the town meeting. They then sent the contract, and guaranteed turned out to be semi-guaranteed. What there is in there is a clause that says if a subcontractor's costs change by more than 5%, they would come back and talk to us about that. That's just because these people don't buy the materials until they're ready to build it, and they lock us in as much as they can. Again, North Branch is relatively comfortable that the materials on this job are not gonna trigger that. They're mostly just off-the-shelf items. So the contract is there. We're all set with that. We have job meetings starting next Thursday. We're gonna meet the Thursday the 6th, and once again on the 20th, and then we'll go on to weekly meetings. We may cut that back as the project gets underway and we don't need them every week. We'll wait and see how that goes. Invites will be coming out, and we'll get the key players there for that. And lastly, part of the owner's responsibility is to do a hazardous materials survey for lead in the paint and those kinds of things. So I don't know if you've signed that yet, but the contract came in today, and that'll be underway in the next couple of weeks here. So that's where we are. And
would you like a selectman's representative at your meetings, or do you want to just notify all three of us, and if we can come? Although if we have more than one person there, then we have to publicize it.
We're ahead of you on that.
Okay.
We had the same problem as the committee. So we are going to post them. I think they're already posted as committee/job meetings. I don't think there's a technical need for the selectmen to be there. We certainly will come back when there's anything major that needs to be decided or discussed. I would like to hear tonight, if possible, how often you'd like to see my face here to just report in. But certainly everybody's welcome, and if you feel that somebody ought to be there every time, that's certainly fine.
One thing that came up, because we had an event here a few weeks ago, that we perhaps need more than 75 chairs. And I'm wondering if we should consider ordering at least 25 more, considering how long it took to get them in the first place. I wonder if that's something that should be considered.
I heard the rumbles of that. So.
Legit, yeah.
Let me make a suggestion. Within the overall budget, there are two contingencies. One is on North Branch side, and we only spend that money if they spend that money. So something they didn't account for, or a price goes up or whatever, there's a significant contingency there. There's also an owner's contingency. Let me give you a for instance. We were here the other day looking at how to access those machines that are going to go up above the ceilings, and it turned out to make more sense to go in sideways with a new door where they can go in flat on a floor than trying to use ladders to climb up through the floor and all of that. So that, we don't think that's going to have a cost impact, but if it did, that would be on the owner's contingency side because it's a change of scope.
Right.
I would suggest that we wait until halfway through the project, sometime, excuse me, sometime when North Branch says, we know what we're spending from here on out, everything's signed on the dotted line, and in all likelihood, you know, if things go smoothly, there will be contingency money there that then we could deal with the chairs. If we start spending that money now, you know what Mr. Murphy says about it, right? We'll run out of money on something else. That's just my suggestion.
No, I think that's a good suggestion. Thank
And
you, Bill.
that, you know, that could be into the July-ish kind of thing, and then still have time to get these by Labor Day.
Right, yeah. Well, it's not that we won't be using Whipple through this whole project.
Yeah, you're right.
I just, it would
Yeah.
be nice if we did have the money
Yeah.
to have it available once Whipple is ready to use. So,
We're still at that phase of the project where everybody's very optimistic.
yeah, good. Okay,
We hope to have all phases like that.
Bill.
Phil, as far as the dates are concerned, you heard us just scheduling it. It seemed to me if you could come back once a month, that would be useful. It's a short,
Sure.
so maybe the 27th of April.
Happy to do that. However, these first couple of meetings are going to be working with the chief and just sort of dealing with the nuts and bolts of access and where does the dumpster go and those kinds
No, I
of
mean,
things.
coming back here, just, if it's maybe only 30 seconds to
Yeah,
say.
happy to do that. Yeah, there may
I'm-
not be a lot of meat to report on, but
And then again, maybe on the 24th of May, and we only have one meeting in June, on the 27th, 21st, and see how we're doing.
we'll get all these on my
You-
calendar. Colin Beasley is on the committee. He's
You
here
may
tonight.
not even have to sit down, but I think it'd be better to have you here, and
Yep, no
and then
problem.
we could also, as time goes on, deal with the chair issue. Interestingly, I looked during the election on Tuesday, this room is only coded for 95 seats.
I was going to ask that question.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Maybe we don't need
20
any
more chairs.
chairs.
So, I mean, so
All right.
we may want to have a couple of extras, but
Yeah.
we even when we're letting people use the room,
Right.
they shouldn't be selling more than 95 chaired seats.
Right, yeah.
We may be able to relook at that with Jay as well.
Okay, well, that'd be
That
good.
number
So there's a good
could be a
example
little
of
higher
this.
than that.
A detail that somebody needs to follow up on.
And I don't know what you were told about that event, but the application to use this building, they said they only needed between 0 and 50 chairs. So even though it turned out they sold more tickets, which was wonderful, it wasn't because we didn't have enough chairs.
I treated that like a train going by. It didn't hit me, so.
All right, good, that's good. Didn't lose any sleep over that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Or BB, do you have any
No,
questions?
no, that was
Okay.
my question.
Okay. Kim, do you have anything else to report?
Surely do. Okay. We've been notified by the New London Springfield Water Precinct that they will not be able to provide water to Twin Pines in the continuum projects. Apparently, they've been notified from state DES that they do not currently have the capacity for it. So I know the precinct's working hard to kind of figure out, you know, what that means as far as building permits for New London, residential homes, whatever. So right now, we're kind of in a holding pattern, but I am talking with them, with Twin Pines. Adam is involved with it. There'll be a meeting next week. So we're on top of it. You know, we'll offer any assistance we can, and they're working on that. So, and all parties know, Continuum knows about it in Twin Pines. So I met with Twin Pines today, and they're sort of pivoting and doing something else, probably putting in private wells. So they're pretty much all set. So more to come on that. Our insurance rates came in. They're at 16.7%. I believe our maximum not to exceed was 17.9. Correct. So it's a little bit under that. The fire department did a controlled burn on Saturday. If anybody noticed, that nice yellow house is no longer on Main Street. I drove by today with Adam, and there's nothing there. I mean, it's the neatest job I've ever seen. I mean, there was a backhoe still there, but you'd never know there was a house there.
Right.
Totally amazing. So I didn't come and see it. Chief, did you hear anything about it? So I think they had it well planned as far as traffic, and they had plenty of firefighters there, and they used it as a training exercise, so that was... Yep. Great.
Kim, I've had a couple of questions, people asking, is there no process to give the community some notice of that, or to prevent people from just tearing down buildings when we have a housing shortage?
No, the house was uninhabitable. My understanding is that it was so mold infested that it was not habitable. So the property owner felt that it was the best way to deal with the problem would be to take it down. But in general, people can take down whatever home they like. If for whatever reason they don't want their house anymore, they can do that. So I guess in answer to your question, I don't think there's really anything we can do.
Somebody had said at one point in the history, and maybe I don't know who the historian is here, that there'd been a discussion, maybe Peter Bianchi knows this, about the town having an ordinance or some process that people had to go through greater than simply getting a permit from the...
Right. Some towns have historic districts where there are certain things that have to be done before a house is taken down. Here in New London, when people request a demolition permit, we do notify Jim Perkins so that he is able to go and document the house if he thinks it's necessary, and if the property owners allow him to go in, and I think they always do. But so that's how we deal with it currently. But in this case, again, my understanding is you couldn't, the mold was such that it wouldn't, you couldn't live in it. The chairs for the Center for the Art, we've covered that one, all done. And finally, Lynn has prepared the MS 232 form, which is the form where we tell DRA what we actually appropriated at town meeting.
So yeah, it's basically you guys signing that, yes, this is what we appropriated, this was voting on. I took out anything that failed to pass, so that changed our final number. Our bottom line number was $11,414,700. And then I just have you guys sign it, and then I upload it to DRA, and then we are set in stone for 2024.
Do we need a motion on that? Okay. I move that we accept the MS 232 report of appropriations actually voted on at the Town of New London.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Kim, is that it from you?
We got
Lynn?
it here. Yeah, we'll send it over and you can all sign.
Okay. Committee reports. Bill, do you have anything?
Well, the Waste Reduction Committee met again this morning, spent their time talking about the process of getting started on getting the number of people doing composting up from the current 20 to the 160 that was discussed and approved at town meeting. They were going to start a process in early July, and we'll hear more from them in due course. And they discussed the Waste Reduction Activity Day on April 23rd, which I think people have seen in the Municipal Matters and other places.
Well, BB, I know you don't have anything yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. The planning board met last Tuesday night, and tree cutting was approved for Camp Sunapee Road. Camp Sunapee Road is a scenic road, and Eversource came to the planning board to ask if they could remove some trees that had been damaged. It was approved, and they're also going to come back at another time for Davis Hill Road, which is another scenic road, but has had some storm damage. As Kim mentioned, there is a town water capacity issue, and this affects the Twin Pines housing project. They will be provided water for fire suppression, and they won't need a well for that, but they have to have a well for water service to the 60 units. Consequently, they have had to revise their proposal to include, among other things, a pump house and a generator. Therefore, since they are applying for a grant, which is due April 15th, they asked that the planning board meet again before their next regularly scheduled meeting, which is next Tuesday. They wanted to meet with us so that hopefully they will have a revised plan in place and we can approve it at least conditionally so that they can go forward and apply for grant funds from the state of New Hampshire. So that is what happened at the planning board. see, so we talked about upcoming meetings, and there's a Citizens Advisory Committee meeting on this Saturday at 7:30 a.m. The Energy Committee is meeting next Wednesday, April 5th. The Planning Board, as I just mentioned, is meeting next Tuesday. The Housing Commission is meeting Wednesday, April 12th, and the Conservation Commission is meeting April 19th. Is there any other business?
Jan, do we want to do the minutes? There's a
Yes, we do.
pile of
I'm
mi-
sorry.
Pile of minutes here.
I skipped right
I
over
move
that.
that we approve the minutes of February 9th and 23rd and March 9th.
Right.
Obviously, Bibi, you don't have to participate in that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Okay, I don't think I missed anything else. Kim, did I miss anything else? Okay, all right. Okay, so we have any vouchers? We have other things to sign?
You're setting a standard here, Janet.
What? Brief meetings?
No, 33 minutes.
Oh, that's good. All right. Okay, so we have some things to sign, and then we can't adjourn until we sign it.
Okay.